In today's video, I am bringing you the biggest Dynasty Fantasy Football sells on the market right now, players I believe you should be moving off of from your Dynasty Fantasy Football teams. We're going to hit every position in today's video and a few disclaimers off the top. I am using Keep Trade Cut as well as the expert rankings on the Flock Fantasy site to determine market value for some of these players and to find values that I believe can be taken advantage of. These are not "I hate this player" takes. These are what I believe to be sharp market plays, taking advantage of players that I believe are being valued incorrectly. For each one of these sells, I am going to give examples of deals that I would like to get done in my own leagues. And these deals that I propose may not be able to get done in every single league. Every league is different. Maybe some owners in your league value these players similarly to how I do, and therefore these deals won't be able to get done. But without further ado, let's jump into the first sell. The first player I am selling is Sam Darnold. He is my quarterback 22 and on my overall big board ranked at 82, which would be a 7th round startup pick. He is the expert average quarterback 19, overall 65. So in the 6th round. And on Keep Trade Cut, same thing. Quarterback 19, overall 66. So again, a 6th round pick. Sam Darnold is coming off of a season in which he averaged just under 18 points per game. The quarterback 23 in points per game in a 6-point per passing touchdown format. Two guys he's valued right next to, Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield. He averaged 2 points less than Baker Mayfield, 3 points less on average per game than Jared Goff. He absolutely killed your week too many times this season. 6 games with less than 10 fantasy points, 8 games with less than 15. Even as a quarterback 2 on your roster, that's incredibly disappointing. He should be a guy you have as a quarterback 3, rotating him in and out based on matchups. And when you're taking him in the 6th round of a startup draft, you need him to be more than that for you. And that's where his current value lies. I don't see a lot changing for Sam Darnold going forward. He's probably going to be the starter for the Seahawks team for the next few years, and their defense is incredible. We saw in 2025, they had one of the lowest pass rates in the league, and I don't see that changing going forward. Deals with Sam Darnold involved. I would add a plus to Sam Darnold for my favorite one being Dak. If you can get this done with any sort of early 2nd round pick type of value asset, I would absolutely love that. I would also love to move Darnold for a contending running back piece, adding a little something onto Darnold to get a Chase Brown, a Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, those types of names. If you can add a plus onto Darnold to get up to one of these tight ends, Colston Loveland, Tucker Kraft, Tyler Warren, I really like those kind of deals as well, taking advantage of the positional value that quarterback gets to move to one of these pieces that will get in your lineup and will help it way more often than Darnold will. A few names that I would flip Sam Darnold for directly. Cam Ward. I would rather take an upside shot on a guy that could potentially break into that quarterback 1 in Dynasty tier, or Jared Goff. Year to year, that offense is just going to be more consistent. There's more passing volume. I like a flip for Jared Goff. Even if you have to add a little tiny something on top of Darnold to get to Goff, I like that deal. And down tiering options, the first being Tyler Shuck. I imagine that his value adjusts a little bit and Shuck ends up in a few weeks closer to Darnold, but right now he's being valued further down. So if the Tyler Shuck manager thinks that Darnold is a more solid option and they think that they can take advantage of this production from Shuck at the end of the year, give you a little plus to get to Darnold, I love that move. Daniel Jones plus. The injury is a little worrisome, but at his peak, he will be more valuable scoring fantasy points than Sam Darnold will. Kyler plus, you can get done right now based on market value, a deal that I really, really like. His upside is so much higher than Darnold, and I believe that he will have a starting job in 2026. I talked about contending running backs earlier. These are 4 guys that you could get a plus on top of sending your Sam Darnold away. Javonte Williams, Ken Walker, Travis Etienne, Derrick Henry. Market value also suggests that you could get George Kittle plus for Sam Darnold, solidifying your tight end position for the next 2 years at least, and moving off of a quarterback who may not hit your lineup very often. The next sell, this one at the wide receiver position, is going to be Justin Jefferson. Those who watch my wide receiver rankings probably won't be surprised by this, but he is my wide receiver 8, overall 24, so just at the end of the 2nd round of a startup. He's the expert wide receiver 6, overall 13, so just at the beginning of the 2nd round, and Keep Trade Cut has him in a similar spot, wide receiver 7, overall rank of 15. I explained in my wide receiver rankings video that my worry with Jefferson is that even if Minnesota figures out the quarterback situation, which I believe that they will, because I do trust Kevin O'Connell and that organization. The options for them are super limited. I think they'll bring in a vet to compete with JJ McCarthy, and I doubt that that situation provides us with consistent elite production for Jefferson in 2026. And then we get to 2027, and he will be 28 years old heading into that season. And it is because of this age factor, I don't think his value ever gets back into the first round of Dynasty startups. I can't see it happening. Even if I'm completely wrong about 2026 and Justin Jefferson is the wide receiver 2 and he wins leagues, he's not going to get into the first round of startup drafts as a 28-year-old wide receiver. So if he's currently being ranked as between the 201 and the 204 in a startup draft, this is his peak value. It will not get back to this point. I would add a plus onto Justin Jefferson for any of Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, or Malik Neighbors. What that plus looks like is going to depend on your league. I would go up to an early second. I would send an early second with Justin Jefferson for any of those 3 names. I would flip him directly for Devon Achane. Maybe that manager is panicking with Mike McDaniel getting fired. I would do that move. I would flip him for Jalen Hurts, who is currently being valued very similar or lower than Justin Jefferson. I would flip him for Ashton Genty, as well as either elite tier 1 tight end. Trey McBride or Brock Bowers are both being valued very close to Justin Jefferson. I would rather have either of those names. In a tier down, I think that you could get Nico Collins with a plus on top. I think those two guys, their age profile is very similar. I think they produce similarly in 2026. I like that move. I like going down to George Pickens plus. Getting a younger name and another guy that could outproduce Jefferson in 2026. I like getting Amarian Hampton plus. And the last one, if you need a quarterback, Jackson Dart plus. Those are 4 deals that based on market value should be able to get done. My next sell is Teteroa McMillan. He is my wide receiver 14, overall rank of 42. So a mid to late 4th round pick in my eyes, and the expert consensus as well as Keep Trade Cut has him a lot higher than that. They both have him at the end of the 2nd round of a startup, the expert average having him at wide receiver 10 and Keep Trade Cut at wide receiver 9. I explained this a little bit in my wide receiver rankings video, but my concern with Teteroa McMillan is purely situational. I really liked him as a prospect. He gets the top 10 draft capital, which we love for rookie wide receivers. And in his rookie season, he looks like an alpha from the eye test. He eclipses 1,000 yards, commands a very nice 25% target share. And Bryce Young honestly looked good enough that I think the Panthers will decide to keep him as their starter long term. It's hard to move off of a guy who gives you a bit of a floor to sort of end up in quarterback purgatory again. But over Bryce Young's 45-game career, he averages 184 passing yards per game. T-Mac has already shown that he's great, and even if he breaks into the 30% or higher number in terms of equity in this offense, there just isn't enough volume for him to ever have a top 6 wide receiver finish here. And that's something that's going to have to change if we're going to rank him in the top 10 of overall dynasty wide receivers. In this current situation with Bryce Young and this Panthers offense, the only way I see that top 6 outcome is a crazy high roll on touchdowns where he catches 15 plus in a season. In the wide receiver rankings video, I related Teteroa McMillan to Garrett Wilson. In terms of looking at the first 3 years of Garrett Wilson's career, he's between 25% and 30% target share all 3 years. Wide receiver 21 was his best points per game finish. This is not because he's not talented, but because there was never enough sustained volume in the offense for him to eclipse that mark. Garrett Wilson was ranked as high as Dynasty wide receiver 4 after his rookie season because everyone saw how talented he was, and that wide receiver 4 rank was before any of the hype about Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets had even started. And I think we're learning a bit of a lesson here. If you are looking at a situation that clearly with Teteroa McMillan, it doesn't seem like the Panthers' passing volume is going to increase. I don't see a reason why it would, and therefore I'm quite bearish on his prospects going forward. Now, like I said with Justin Jefferson, the same that elite tier of wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors. If I could get any of those guys for Teteroa McMillan plus, maybe the Amon-Ra or the CeeDee manager is going to be switching to a bit of a retool. They want to get a little bit younger. Those guys are approaching 27. If I can add a early second to Teteroa McMillan to get one of those guys, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would flip him directly for either of the first round running backs from this past year, Omarion Hampton or Ashton Genty. Market value suggests that those deals can get done. I would also prefer Drake London. I think that these guys profile quite similarly, that big X wide receiver, and the Atlanta Falcons situation is just a lot better. Kirk Cousins at this point in his career is not great, but he's averaging more than 184 passing yards per game. Same with Michael Penix. Even coming off the injury, I like that offensive environment a lot more than with the Panthers. A tier down, similar to Justin Jefferson, Nico Collins plus, George Pickens plus. I like both of those deals. If you can get a big plus on T. Higgins or Brian Thomas, I love both of those options. My first running back sell is going to be RJ Harvey. Now, he is my running back 21, overall rank of 71. So a late 7th round startup value. The expert average has him similarly at overall 68, but they have him at RB 17, and Keep Trade Cut has him all the way at RB 14, overall 56. Now, my argument for selling RJ Harvey centers around how I project his role in the Broncos offense going forward. Harvey was drafted in the 2nd round of the 2025 NFL draft, a lot higher than most people expected him to go. And the expectation from that point onward was that he is going to be the lead back in this Broncos offense. Sean Payton picked his guy and he wants him to lead this Broncos backfield. And that was until the Broncos signed J.K. Dobbins, which, if you recall, didn't happen until June, right before mandatory minicamp, long after RJ Harvey was drafted. The Broncos got to see RJ Harvey at rookie minicamp and at OTAs, and after seeing him, Sean Payton and the Broncos felt that they needed to sign J.K. Dobbins coming off of a knee injury. Coming into the year, in terms of redraft, RJ Harvey was still seen as the guy to lead this backfield, and it just wasn't the case at all. He played more than 1/3 of the snaps once before J.K. Dobbins got hurt in Week 10, and that was the game on Monday night when they blew out the Bengals. Up until that point, when J.K. Dobbins got injured, he was used as only a change of pace and receiving back. Down the stretch, after Dobbins got hurt and Harvey was consistently playing upwards of 60% of the snaps every game and getting around 50% of the team's carries, he averaged about 15 points per game, which was good for RB 13 over that span, a very promising number. But he ran at just under 4 yards per carry on one of the league's best offensive lines. For reference, Dobbins was averaging over 5 yards per carry in his 10 healthy games. And so that I worry that this mark of RB 13 in the back half of the season is the absolute ceiling for Harvey, and that's for a few reasons. The first being that this is not a guy that profiles as a workhorse at all. And we saw that even with Dobbins going down, the Broncos still had him sharing work with Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet. Sean Payton clearly really values Harvey's role in the receiving game, and that will continue, which I think does give him a solid floor, but this will never be a backfield where he gets the majority of the work. And I would be absolutely floored if the Broncos didn't add a significant piece to this backfield, if not just bringing back J.K. Dobbins. With Dobbins in the lineup, Harvey was averaging 8 opportunities per game. He was averaging 18 once Dobbins went down, 14 rush attempts and 4 targets on average. And I think the truth of his usage falls somewhere in the middle, and that's not a guy that I can rank as a high RB2 in Dynasty. Up tiering from RJ Harvey to any of these contending running backs like CMC, Saquon, Jacobs, I would add a nice plus onto Harvey to get up to Judkins, a guy who I think will just carry a bigger workload for his entire career. I would also do Harvey plus for Kyren Williams. Guys valued similarly to Harvey that I would flip him for. Chase Brown projects to have the workload in this Bengals offense going forward, and we've seen him do it in the past. I would rather have Cam Scadaboo than RJ Harvey. I would rather have Breece Hall. I would rather have Javonte Williams. If you need a wide receiver, I would like to flip RJ Harvey for Jameson Williams. Or if you need a tight end, another rookie, Colston Loveland, I would rather have him over RJ Harvey. Down tiering options. You guys know that I love Michael Wilson. I would love to do Harvey for Michael Wilson plus, Ken Walker plus, Travis Etienne plus. If you can get a big plus on Derrick Henry, get one last year of production for him if you're on a contender for RJ Harvey, I love that. If you need a tight end, the market suggests you can get Tucker Kraft plus for RJ Harvey. And if you need a quarterback, Tyler Shuck plus for RJ Harvey. I like all of those moves. The next guy on my sell list is going to be Woody Marks. Woody Marks is my running back 34. He is the running back 25 on the expert average on flockfantasy.com, and he is the running back 26 on Keep Trade Cut. Woody Marks is the prototypical day 3 drafted running back who got some opportunity because of injuries or poor play in front of him. And now I just think he's going to be replaced as soon as any better option becomes available. Think about Tyler Algier having 1,000 yards as a rookie and then them drafting Bijan Robinson. Dameon Pierce on this Texans team got replaced instantly. Tyrone Tracy had a great rookie season. They draft Cam Scadaboo. These guys flash as rookies because of opportunity, but then they're seen as incredibly replaceable by their NFL team. Woody Marks in a backfield where his only competition was 30-year-old Nick Chubb coming off of a gruesome knee injury only ran for 700 yards at 3.6 yards per carry. Now, you may say that was because of the offensive line, and I think that that is a fair argument, but Woody also showed little to no value in the passing game for the Texans after that was a huge part of his profile coming out of college. The best case scenario for Woody is that the Texans don't draft or sign a high-profile running back, but they bring in a day 3 guy or a lower-level free agent. Either way, there isn't any scenario in my eyes where they give this entire backfield to Woody, and so I would rather just get this asset off my roster. If you can get up with a small plus to any of Travis Etienne, Ken Walker, or Javonte Williams, I love that. I would flip him directly for Kyle Monangai or DeAndre Swift. Either of the Bears running backs, I'd flip him directly for Trey Benson. If you need some wide receiver help on a contender, I'd rather have Jacoby Myers or DJ Moore than Woody Marks for a direct flip. And down tiering, I would love to down tier to Blake Corum plus, to Tyler Algier plus, to Tony Pollard plus, to J.K. Dobbins plus. Those are 4 names that I think will all be in better fantasy situations in 2026. And our final name for today's video is Oronde Gadsden. He is my tight end 14, the expert tight end 10, and the tight end 10 on Keep Trade Cut. Somehow, and I can't believe this, but the selling window off of the Gadsden hype is still open. It's not as high as it was. He was at one point the tight end 5 on Keep Trade Cut in the middle of his breakout. So a big congratulations to anyone who got out at that price. I still believe he's overpriced today. The breakout coincided directly with Will Dissly getting hurt, and I think there's some truth to the idea that the defense has no idea who this guy is. He cooks them for a few games, and then they figure it out and they're able to shut him down. After that 4-game stretch of production in the middle of the season, he had 2 games over 8 points in his final 8 games. 5th round pick, a lot lighter than you'd like for an inline tight end. He doesn't profile as this great blocker, especially on an offense like the Chargers, who want to be running the ball so much. I imagine when the Chargers are healthy and at their best, he'll struggle to get on the field, as well as the fact that the Chargers are absolutely a candidate to take a more well-rounded tight end in this year's draft. Maybe this is a landing spot for Kenyon Sadiq. Either way, I think even if they don't take somebody like that, Gadsden will be a guy that has 3 to 4 games every season where he splashes, and that's about it. Think of it like Mike Gesicki. There are just so many guys I'd much rather have on my roster. I would add a significant plus to Gadsden to get any of Kittle, Kraft, or Laporta, just much more solid options. I would flip him directly for Jake Ferguson or Dalton Kincaid. And a few lower level guys I like. If you can get a plus on top of Mason Taylor for Oronde Gadsden, I like that. If you can get a plus on top of Brenton Strange for Oronde Gadsden, I really like that as well. So those are, in my opinion, the 6 biggest sells in Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a civilized discussion about any of these names or any others that you think I missed today. If you're looking for more Dynasty content in addition to these videos that I am putting up, I am running a Dynasty Fantasy Football podcast, the Dynasty Arsenal. It's a weekly podcast. It's a lot of fun. We're talking all things Dynasty offseason. The link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the subscribe button if you really liked it, and I will catch you all in the next one.